Hello students, this is for class 11th, subject informatics practices, chapter 1, introduction to computer. The topic is components of a computer system. Students, you must have seen the last video. In last video I had told about what is a computer, its block diagram, evolution of computer and generation of computer. Now here in this video you will study about the components, functional components of a computer system. So let us first proceed for the first component, that is input unit. You can see in the figure input unit. What is input unit? You can see the input unit is formed by the input devices attached to the computer. Means whatever input devices are there, they all together form the input unit. For example, the input devices are keyboard, mouse, magnetic ink character reader, optical mark reader and optical character reader, joystick. Many more input devices are there, and the input unit is responsible for taking input, for receiving the input and converting it into computer understandable form, that is the binary code. Means computer understandable form is only binary code, because every computer understands only two digits, that is binary digit 0 and 1. How? You can see there it is given the reason that computer understands or operates on electricity, and that can understand only the electrical signals, that is on and off, or you can say low voltage or high voltage. So that means computer has only two stage of understanding, that is on and off. Here you can say on stands for 1 and off stands for 0. Now if you talk about the input, so every input whichever we give to the computer, that consists of two parts, that is the data and the instruction. For example, you can see in the next figure it is clearly mentioned that how input carries two parts, data and instruction. See here, when we give input, like if we have given the input add 2 and 3, so here 2 and 3, that is the data, and add is the instruction. In the same way, another example, print hello world. So here hello world is the data and print is the instruction. So in every input whichever we give to the computer, that consists of two parts, that is data and instruction. Instructions tell the computer what to do, and data give the input for performing the operation. Now I think you have understood the first unit, that is input unit. Let us proceed further. Here more details about the input unit given, like some of the common input devices that we generally use in our daily life, that is keyboard, mouse, mic, that is microphone. Keyboard, you know, that is like a typewriter which is used to type the letters, symbols and characters. Mouse, that gives the input with the help of clicking, dragging or rolling. Microphone, that gives the instruction to computer in the sound or digital audio format. Okay, now about output unit, the next component of computer, that is output unit. Output unit is formed from the output devices that is attached to the computer. The output devices mostly consist of like monitor, printer and speaker. These three are the main output devices that we often use: monitor, printer, and speaker. Whenever input is given and it is processed, after processing the output is produced by these three mediums, as here I told: monitor, printer, or speaker. With the monitor, output is displayed on the screen, and with the printer it is printed on the paper, and with the speaker it is produced as sound. So here it is given that output unit converts the output in binary form to human readable form. Further, you can read the details from this. Next component of computer system, that is CPU, central processing unit. You must be knowing about this, that CPU is also called the brain of computer. Let us see. The CPU, or central processing unit, is the main control center and processing unit of a computer. It is also called the brain of computer, as it guides, directs, controls, and governs the performance of a computer system. Now CPU has three parts, mostly two parts, that is ALU and CU. Another part works like memory, that is register. So three part, if you study, then that will be better. So ALU stands for arithmetic logic unit. ALU performs all the arithmetic and logical operations. Arithmetic like plus, minus, asterisk, division, whatever the operations are there of arithmetic, that can be performed by arithmetic unit. And the logical operations like comparing two values, less than, greater than, equal to, not equal to, that is logical operation, that is performed by logical unit. And both combined together form arithmetic logic unit, that is ALU. Now here given that for logical operations also, the numbers to be compared are sent from memory to ALU, where the comparison takes place and the result is returned to the memory. The result of logical operation is either true or false, because whenever you compare, you will find either true value or false value, and that only is called logical operation. While in arithmetic operation, whenever we give the value, we find the result, like 2 plus 4 we get 6. So that is arithmetic operation. Now I think you have understood well about ALU. ALU is responsible for performing the operation, that is logical operation and arithmetic operation. Next is control unit. It is also the part of CPU. Control unit, in other way you can say, it is like the guide, the controller of the computer system, which controls, manages, and coordinates all the devices, all the units of computer, that is keyboard, mouse, printer, monitor. Everything is controlled and managed by control unit, CU. Because if you are giving the input from keyboard, then what you are giving, like if you have typed A, so it is not compulsory that you have typed A, but it should be displayed same thing on the screen. But it is done, it is displayed. You type A, then A only is displayed on the screen because of CU, control unit. Because CU is guiding, is coordinating it, and whatever you type, the same thing goes for processing and returns for the output. But suppose if you CU is not there, then what will happen? If you type or if you click to do something, then some other thing will happen. You want to do, like you have typed A, then computer can display, screen can display B or C or any other thing, means without control. That's why control unit is important. Control unit manages and coordinates all the other units of computer to perform properly, to function properly. Next is register. Registers or processor registers are small units of data holding place. I told, like it is like a small memory. The CPU user registers temporarily hold some important processing information during the time the processing is taking place. That means you can say while processing of data, the register hold that data till that processing is completed. After the processing, the data is stored in the memory, but during the processing the data is hold on register. Next, the memory. Now if you talk about memory, memory is very important because any input if you give, that is first stored in the memory, and after that it goes for the processing, and after processing also it again comes to memory, then goes for the output. That's why memory, here memory we mainly talk about the main memory, that is primary memory. Let us see, the memory of a computer is more like a predefined working place where it temporarily keeps information and data to facilitate its performance. The main memory holds the data temporarily, that is not for long time, only for the processing time to producing the output time, not for longer time. If you want to save the data for longer time, then you have to use secondary memory, not the primary memory. That's why here primary memory, main memory is like a predefined working place, like a stage you can say, where you perform and move back. You can't occupy the space there on the stage or on the working place. So that's what primary memory is, like a working place, predefined working place where the data is stored for processing, and after processing then the data is either is saved in the secondary memory or is lost from the memory. So that's what he is saying, that the memory of a computer is more like a predefined working place where it temporarily keeps information and data to facilitate its performance. Each memory location has a unique memory address. When the task is performed, it clears its memory, and memory space is then available for the next task to be performed. Means there are a queue of tasks. When one task is performed, then memory is released for that next task. When the next is performed, then the other next. Like this, the memory keeps holding the data one by one. Now I think you must have understood. You can see in the beginning, if a computer has a brain, then it must also have the faculty which we call memory. Indeed, it does possess the memory. However, the memory of a computer is most unlike human memory. A human being can remember stored information for long, whereas a computer cannot. That is, you can say its memory is temporary, that is volatile. Volatile means it will be safe only when your computer is on. As soon as your computer is turned off, the data will be lost. That's why the main memory or primary memory is also called volatile memory. Now here how the storage is done in the memory, it is given that the memory of a computer can be thought of as cells. Means in memory the cells are made in which the data is stored in the form of bits. In each cell, in each box, the data is stored in the form of bits. You can see like 0 1 0 1 0 0 1 1, like this the data has been stored, and that every box is holding one bit. Now what is a bit? A bit is an elementary unit of the memory. Further I will tell what are the memory units, what are the measurement unit of memory. So first of all, what is a bit? A bit is an elementary unit of the memory, and 8 bit makes 1 byte. Let us proceed to that topic. Here is given the memory unit, 1 bit. That means bit stands for binary digit. Bit is the abbreviation of binary digit. 8 bit is equal to 1 byte. Now if you take 2 power 10, that is 1024 byte, then it becomes 1 KB. Like this it increases 1024 KB 1 MB, 1024 MB 1 GB, then 1024 GB, that becomes 1 TB, 1024 TB becomes 1 PB, petabyte, and 1024 PB becomes 1 EB, that is exabyte. Like this it continues. Here given important point that every higher memory unit is equal to 2 power 10 of its lower unit, except the bit and byte, because after byte only it starts as 2 power 10. So every higher memory unit is equal to 2 power 10 of its lower unit. You can see here 2 power 10, 2 power 10, 2 power 10, 2 power 10, 2 power 10. So that's all for today. Thank you.